Arrowmax have brought out a new very high power battery, 130C stroke 65C. This is 6000 milliamp 2S for competition racing. Now this is the highest rating I've seen so far. How does it compare to existing class leading batteries such as the IP, which is 100C, and the Nosram stroke LRP 6000s, which are 110C, you can just see it there, 110C stroke 55C. I've already tested LRPs and IPs and have results, but I can do it again. Using a high current discharger, we can measure the voltage, watts, capacity, etc. So what I do is I can cycle them once, make sure that they're fully charged, and go through the charge and then discharge immediately after charging, so everything is the same. So it'd be interesting to see if this rating is actually an improvement, because the higher the C rating, it should be able to hold the voltage higher under a high current discharge. The weight of the batteries and the appearance, well, they're all the same size hard case. The Nosram has got this typical red sort of see-through case. 4mm connectors. They're only on one side now. Nosram LRP used to have connectors that went all the way through, and they've got the minus and plus in that orientation. The IP, 5 big 5mm sockets. They go all the way through, and the orientation is the other way, minus and plus there. And the Arrowmax 4mm connectors also go all the way through, and minus and plus on this side, so you could turn it over and use the other side. So the Arrowmax and the Nosram, if you put them up that way, would have the plus on this side. So if you borrow some batteries off someone, be careful that you put them in the right way round, don't blow your speeder up. Now the weight, we'll check the weight while we're at it. Now they're all rated at 6000 milliamps, so you'd expect them to be similar. The Arrowmax weighs 309 grams, so we can write that in there. It's quite heavy. The IP weighs only 278 grams. And the Nosram weighs 293 grams. So that's quite a spread in weight for all 6000, 278 to 309. So if you were buying one and wanted to balance the weight of your car, you're going to have to be careful. If you've previously used those and used these, there's going to be a massive increase in weight on that side of the car. So now I've got the chart here, and I've got previous results as well on the voltages under heavy load, and I'm just going to charge them up and test them now. The IP battery has been just come off the charger, fully charged it at 10 amps. Of course it's ambient temperature in here, about 20 degrees. Got the watt meter ready set to 0, and I've got my chart here, which I'm going to record all the results on. Ready. So I'll measure the voltages as soon as I put it on discharge, and I'll measure it all the way through, and record all the results. So first of all, as soon as I put it on, I'm going to do the voltage that it first appears at, and then it will drop within a few seconds to a new voltage, and then we'll check it at 600 milliamps, etc. So I'm not sure if you can see the display. Let's just check it. Okay, here we go. nearly 40 amps, and the voltage is 7.70, and now it's just dropped to 7.63, and that occurred in about the first 100 to 150 milliamp hour. The current's dropped to about 34, 35 amps, which is typical for over a 5-minute race. The average current draw with a 17.5, for instance, where the voltage is most important to keep a high voltage if you're doing blinky racing. So this would be typical. I'll check it at 600 milliamps, which would be equivalent to the first few laps when you're trying to go your quickest to break away from the field. And at 600 milliamps, it's shown 7.57. Then we check it at 1 amp per hour, which would be almost a third of the way, be about a third of the way through the race, maybe a little more. With the 17.5, you probably will only draw about 2,000 milliamps in the 5-minute race. The 13.5, say 3,000, and I'll record higher ones as well. So it's coming up to 1 amp per hour now. It's 32 amps it's drawing. .44. So I'll keep on recording and I'll show you the results when they're finished. Okay, it's just come up to the end of the IP one. You can already see it's 5,800 milliamps when it discharged to 6 volts. The battery here, just zoom out a bit. Ambient temperature didn't get very hot, really about 29 degrees centigrade. And the results, I've got all the results here, just recorded along here, all the voltages, and I'm just about to do the Nosram next. Nosram's just come off the charger, charged at 10 amps to 8.40 volts. So I'm just going to zoom in for you, and going to connect up and read the instant voltage. Here we go. So it's 30, nearly 38, and it was 7.76. And it's just dropping off now to 7.70, which is good. And then we get the 600 milliamp and all the other readings right through. Coming up to the end of the discharge on the NARS Ram. Let's see what capacity it makes when it hits 6 volts. It's dropping now, 6.3, 6.2, 6 volts. Only made 5.7 ampere hours. 5.7. And temperature, well, these things don't get that hot. Whoops, sorry. About 30 degrees. So next the Arrowmax, and see if the Arrowmax can beat them all. The Arrowmax just come off charged at 10 amps or 8.40 volts. Got it on the discharger, and going to do the results now. Start it up. Okay, 7.89 initial, and it's going to drop to, well, it's holding a very good voltage, so only dropped to 7.83, Then we do it at 600 milliamps and all the others, and see how it gets on. Arrowmax coming to the end of its discharge. It's just coming up to 6 ampere hour or 6,000 milliamp hours, and it's still holding 6.78. Whoops, 6.72. Now let's see what capacity it makes at 6.00 volts. Okay, it's about to go. 610, 60, made 6,275, and the temperature, check it out, is only 31 degrees. And I'll just get the chart. Okay, there's the 3 discharge readings. The IP, the Nosram, the Arrowmax. There's the weights. The IP was the lightest, and the voltage is at 600 milliamps is here. They started off, as you can see, the Arrowmax had very good voltage. It starts off, it drops to 783 at 600. It's still holding 771 at 1 ampere hour. It's holding 7.63 volts, which is much higher than the others, and that's halfway through a race with 17.5, so it's going to be really punchy over the first part of the race. And then at 1.5 and 2, that's that chart there, if you look at all the way up here, 1.5 and 2, it's way ahead of the others on voltage, and right through to the end. And it's the only one that actually made more than 6,000 milliamps, 6,275. The others didn't even make 6,000 milliamps when they stopped. And except for the weight, it outperforms. It's the best battery there. The only other batteries that have performed that good were the Turniges, which are very similar, hold very similar voltage curves. In fact, the Turniges were a little better at the end, but that was a 7,500. Oh, there's more equivalent. Turnige's 6,600. Ultimate Nanotech 783, 770, and 744. Yeah, very similar, except right at the end it's 7.18. and the Turnigy 7.19, just a little bit better on the Turnigy at the end. Anyway, the Arrowmax, so 130C, it is a better battery than the existing 110s and 100s, but it's a little bit heavier. Oops.